Hi everyone, good evening. Put down your messages in the chat box. Yes, good evening. Bharat Sagar, NM Ankit, Purnima, Veeramani, Prateek. Yes. Hi everyone. Hello, good evening. Yes, guys. Yes. Have you all created your free tier account? Let me know if you had any issues in creating your free tier account. I have already shown you the steps to follow to create your AWS free tier account in yesterday's session. So, have you done that? Please let me know in the chat box. Wow, that's good. Yes, Nakul, that's good. So, you have already created and submitted your first assignments. Very good. Yes, keep up that spirit. Siddhant, the payment didn't go through. Sometimes you might get this problem with the payment. Um, if your payment has already been debited from your account, you will get it back. Just try to make the payment after. If you had tried it yesterday, probably if you have tried it today or tonight, so that should be fine. It'll get eventually activated, but this sometimes it happens. Pavan Kumar, may I get charged for any AWS for anything? It's basically if you are using the services within the free tier limit, you will not get charged, right? If you exceed the free tier limit usage, then you will get charged. So make sure you are not exceeding the free tier limit. So if you are creating a resource, like let's say if you are creating a EC2 instance, make sure you terminate the instance after the exploration. Okay, in that ways you will be able to get yourself free from any unwanted expense, okay, or billing. Anyways, your account will not be automatically debited, so don't get worried about it. Wow, looks like I have a good batch here, right? You all have done your assignments and you have already made your submission for the first assignment. Happy to see that, guys. Aksh, Dopti, so I guess you can continue with the attendance and assignment. So let me repeat again. You guys will be eligible for two different types of certifications. One is the certificate of participation. So make sure you fill up the attendance for yesterday and today's session. You will get eligible for the certificate of participation. And if you submit the assignments that is being provided in the session, then you will be eligible for your certificate of completion of the Cloud Computing Essentials program. So make sure you fill up your attendance forms as well as make sure you are submitting your assignments on time. Do I need to stop or terminate the instances in order to be safe from? It's better to terminate your instance because you are using a free tier account. I think NM, I saw your name is Naveen, right? So yes, Naveen. So it's always good to terminate your instance because you're just using a free tier account. So generally, the thing is that if you stop your instance, you would be able to restart your instance at a later stage. But then if you terminate your instance, the resource will get released back into the shared pool, right? Though you stop your instance, there will be a EBS volume, that is, that will cause you a charge. Okay, so always make sure you delete your instance, basically terminate your instance, right? So that you will not get charged. Okay, yes. I think all the questions are caught up. Okay, so I think we can move forward with this. Okay, so now let's move forward with today's session. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen. So, in yesterday's session, we have covered up to identity and access management, right? So, today we are supposed to start with elastic compute. Okay, so now let's get into today's session. So, here we have Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud, it is nothing but a virtual server on the AWS cloud. It provides you scalable computing capacity in the AWS cloud. And EC2 eliminates the need to invest in hardware upfront, so the applications can be developed and deployed faster. EC2 can be used to launch as many or as few virtual servers as you need, configure security and networking, and you can also manage your storage. EC2 enables you to scale up or down to handle changes in requirements or spikes in popularity, reducing your need to forecast traffic. So now let's see what is this EC2. So we are working now with EC2, which is Elastic Compute Cloud. These are virtual servers in the cloud. Click on this. Okay, then as I told you earlier, this is Elastic Compute Cloud. a specific resource. So this in the North Virginia region right to Ohio region. It's going to be displaying all the resources in this particular region. So here also I don't have any instances running, but then I have 3 load balancers, 23 security groups, and 2 volumes. Let me delete the volumes here. Okay, and then if we go to North California, so these are just regions, right? So if you see, there are so many resources. Let's check the EC2 dashboard. We don't have any instances running, only there were a couple of resources, basically like volumes. Okay, so it's a regional resource. The entire Elastic Compute Cloud is a regional resource, be it your your volumes or the EC2 instances. It's going to be a regional resource. Now let's understand the process of creating an EC2 instance. I'm working with the North California region. You can use any region. Okay, click on launch instance. So these are the AMIs. Okay, what is an AMI? It is the Amazon Machine image. An Amazon Machine image is a template that contains the software configuration which is required to launch your instance. And you can select an AMI that is provided by AWS, or it could be a user community or the AWS marketplace, or you can select one of your own AMIs as well. Okay, so here you can see that we have Amazon Linux 2 AMI, Red Hat Enterprise Linux, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu, Microsoft Windows Server 2019. See here, there are custom AMIs as well. So if you are looking for a server for your deep learning needs, then you can simply use this AMI. If you use this AMI, your deep learning platform is readily available to you with MXNet, TensorFlow, PyTorch, NVIDIA CUDA, and lots more, right? So, depending upon your requirement, we know that, in yesterday's session itself, we have discussed that basically your cloud computing platform provides you a set of on demand, completely configurable resources. So, this is how flexible the platform is. So, whatever your requirements are, you have an AMI that can satisfy your requirement. So, if you see here, we have Microsoft Windows Server based with containers. We have Debian, a lot more, guys. So, you can always take time to, explore the different AMIs and the significance of each of these AMIs, right? Okay, now make sure you select this, which is free tier only. This is to ensure that you are not accidentally using an AMI which is chargeable. So make sure you tick this checkbox before you select your AMIs. Now, the AMIs that are listed in this window will be the ones that are free tier eligible. I'm going to be using Amazon Linux 2 AMI for this demonstration. Click on Select. Next. So this is the place where I have to select the instance type. Basically, Amazon EC2 provides a wide selection of instance types optimized to fit different use cases. And instances, as we know, these are virtual servers that can run applications. And these have a varying combination of CPU, memory, storage, and networking capacity, and it gives you the flexibility to choose the appropriate mix of resources for your applications. Right? So here we have T2, okay, T2 micro, which is basically the instance type, which is free tier eligible, okay, and here if you see there are different configuration, loads of configurations, loads of instance types available, and depending upon the instance type that you choose, the number of virtual CPUs, the RAM, the instance storage type, network performance will vary. So for this particular thing that I've shown you or I have selected here, which is T2 micro, this is a free tier eligible AMI which has one virtual CPU and 1 GB RAM. And excuse me guys. So yes, it supports EBS only and the network performance is low to moderate. Now, there are configurations that has even 96 CPUs and more than that. Okay, can you see that? C524X large has 96 CPUs, 192 GB RAM. This belongs to a family called Compute Optimized Instance. So, depending upon the instance type that you choose, the number of CPUs, the RAM, and the network performance will vary. Now, select the T2 micro, which is free tier eligible. Configure instance details. So, here in this place, the first tab, here you can specify what is the number of instances that you want to create. So, I want to create a single instance right now. Spot instance. AWS provides its unused compute capacity at a very low price point to its customers, and this particular class of instances are called the spot instance. Right now, we are not going to be using spot instance. And then network, it's basically we don't have a custom VPC right now. So we are going to be launching the resource or this particular Ec2 instance in the default VPC and the default subnet as well. And then we have auto assign public IP. So this is nothing but DHCP. Okay, so if you enable this, that means the public IP will be automatically assigned to the instance that you are creating. Okay, and I'm not making any other changes here. Shutdown behavior. Do you want it to be stopped or terminated? If you stop your instance, then the instance will still be associated with your account and you can always reuse the instance at a later stage. Terminate your instance, the instance will get terminated and it will get released back into the shared pool. Next, protecting against accidental termination. I'm enabling this. I will show you what is happening here. Now, server is a very critical resource and you don't want the server to be accidentally terminated. Okay, so you want to protect it against accidental termination. Next, CloudWatch monitoring. It's a full-fledged monitoring service for AWS services and resources. This is a chargeable service, so let's not use this. Let's move forward to the next step. I'm not making any changes here. Go add storage. So this is basically the primary partition. You have the C colon in your devices, right? So it's the primary partition where the operating system information gets stored, right? So this is mandatory. So without this uh, primary volume, the operating system information cannot be stored in your instance. Okay, so that is the reason you are having a primary volume here, which is the root partition. Now, you can optionally add any number of volumes to your instance. Right now, I'm not adding any additional volumes. I'm just going ahead with the root volume. Since I'm using a Linux flavor, it is 8 GB, and this is the free tier eligible AMI. Okay, so let's move forward. Next, add tags. Tags are nothing but metadata for your instance. I'm adding a name tag, right? So here the name, let's say server 123. Okay, click on security group. Security group is a virtual firewall. Okay, so here you can set the security group name. So this is a set of firewall rules that control the traffic for your instance. On this particular page, you will be able to add rules to allow specific traffic to reach your instance. So here if you see, these are the different types of traffic that are available. Custom TCP rule, hot TCP, all UDP, ICMP, IPv4, HTTP, POP3, IMAP, MySQL Aurora, all this you will be able to allow a custom access. Right now, I'm going to be using all traffic. Depending upon your use case, depending upon your need, you can always give granular permissions. You can add uh, more rules if you need. Okay, so right now I'm just giving it as all traffic. Click on review and launch. So this is the place where you can review all the changes that you have made. Your AMI, the instance type, the security group, the instance details, the storage, tags, and so on. Click on launch. So now create a new key pair. It has to be an RSA key. Give a name for the key pair. Okay? Give a name for the key pair and download the key pair. Make sure you have the key pair safe, as this is needed if you have to connect to the instance. Now click on launch instance. Now the instance is getting ready. It'll take a couple of minutes, but then it'll be ready soon. Basically, we are waiting for the status check to be completed. So the status check is going to be guaranteeing that your system check and your environment check it's fully complete, and then it shows 2 by 2 check complete. Okay, so let's wait for the status to change. Meanwhile, let's move. Now, the next topic is AWS CLI. What is the AWS command line interface? AWS command line interface is an open source tool that enables you to interact with the AWS services using commands in your command line shell. With minimal configuration, the AWS CLI enables you to start running commands that implement functionality equivalent to that provided by the browser based AWS Management Console from the command prompt in your terminal program. So, here we are going to be seeing some of the sample commands. So, AWS CLI command to create a key pair. So, when I give AWS EC2 create key pair followed by hyphen key name. This is the name of the key pair that I want to create, hyphen query, and followed by the key material, which is basically a data, and then the region in which you want to create the key pair. Once you give enter or for this command, this will be the output that you get. So this is the RSA private key. Next, AWS CLI command to create a security group. AWS EC2 create security group hyphen group name mysg-. Once you enter this command, you will get the group ID of the security group that you have just created. Now let's go back and check our EC2 instance. Now 2x2 check has passed. Let's connect to the instance. Select the instance that you want to connect to and click on connect. We are using Amazon Linux 2 AMI and we can connect it using EC2 Instance Connect. Click on connect. Give this much time. Yes, it's loading because we've got the instance ID. So can you see this server123 is the tag name tag that we have given for the instance. This is the public IP assigned to the instance and this is the private IP assigned to the instance. And this is the instance that we have created now. So if I run sudo yum update, that means I'm updating my existing environment. Okay, so I have my virtual server running on the AWS cloud now. Let this come complete. Okay, now this is done. Now let's try to delete the instance. I told you you will have to terminate your resource. If you remember, we have enabled termination protection for this server. Select the server, click on instance state. Okay, let's say I'm trying to terminate the instance. Let's see what happens. Can you see this? Failed to terminate an instance. The instance may not be terminated. You will have to modify its disable API termination instance attribute. So how do I do that? Select the instance, click on Actions, Instance Settings, change termination protection. And then for this, click on Save. Okay, disable this and click on Save. Now, termination protection has been disabled. Can you see this? Disable the termination protection. Now click on instance state, and then terminate. Successfully terminated the instance. Okay, so this is the process to launch your server on the AWS cloud. Let's quickly go through the chat. Okay, so let's move forward now. So the next topic of discussion will be elastic block storage. EBS volumes. Amazon EBS provides highly available, reliable, durable block level storage volumes that can be attached to a running instance. This is recommended for data that requires frequent and granular updates. It can be attached to a single instance at a time, and this persists independently from the running life of an instance. And these can be attached to any instance within the same availability zone. And all the data that is stored at rest, disk IO, and snapshots that are created from the volume are all encrypted. EBS volumes can be backed up by creating a snapshot of the volume. And EBS volumes are created in a specific availability zone, and you will be able to attach it to another instance within the same availability zone. At a given point of time, an EBS volume can be attached to only one instance, and you can take snapshots and you would be able to copy the snapshot to other region, and then you can create new volumes from the snapshots. Working with EBS volumes, I guess my screen is visible. Can someone give me a confirmation if my screen is visible? Thank you very much. The confirmation. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Yes, so we were about to discuss about volumes. So here we have the volumes. So click on create volume. So here the volume type is going to be, you can choose whether you want it to be general purpose or provisioned IOPS, cold HDD, or it can be a throughput optimized HDD. Basically, there is an important point to remember at this stage. If it is going to be a root volume, okay, so then it has to be an SSD, okay. If it is an additional partition that you are adding to your instance, then you can have an SSD or an HDD, right? Right now I'm using general purpose SSD. So depending upon the type of EBS volume that I choose, I am going to be getting different kinds of charge. So here the configuration is 100 GB. The value can range from 1 GB to 16,384 GB, and the IOPS performance is 300. So basically baseline of 3 IOPS per GB with a minimum of 100 IOPS, burstable to 3000 IOPS. So this is what you mean by 300 bar 3000. And this particular volume is available in different availability zones. So you will have to select the availability zone in which you want to launch this EBS volume. As I told you earlier, the EBS volume can be attached to an instance which is within the same availability zone. Now let's check the availability zone of this instance. It says US West 1C. Now let's go back to the volume console and let's set the availability zone to US West 1C. So here you can have the snapshot ID from which you want to create multiple instances or basically multiple, volumes. If you want to encrypt, you can do so. You can simply encrypt this volume and click on create volume. Now this volume is created. If you see this here, it says available, right? So let's take out the filters in case any. Okay, so this is available one. Now we are going to be attaching it to a instance. Just click on attach and select the instance. So we basically don't have any instance running inside this region currently. So that is the reason it is not showing any instance. So when you are doing this assignment, probably make sure you have your instance intact, and so that you will be able to attach this EBS volume to your instance. So when you are selecting this, just click on actions, attach volume and instance. Here you will be able to, select the instance that you have launched, okay, within this region, and click on attach. Okay, so that is the procedure for attaching volumes to your instances. Next is AWS storage. AWS S3 is the simple storage service. S3 provides unlimited storage space and it works on the pay as you go model. The service rate gets cheaper as the usage volume increases, and S3 offers you the extremely durable, highly available, and infinitely scalable data storage infrastructure at very low cost. And S3 is an object level storage and it cannot be used to host operating system or dynamic websites. S3 resources like buckets and objects are private by default, but you can make it public. When we work with simple storage service, we have different storage tiers. Let me tell you what are the different storage tiers. Okay, now we are discussing about simple storage service. So this is what we call S3 buckets, and the data that you store inside the bucket are called objects. The object size varies anywhere up to 5 TB. Basically, it provides you with unlimited storage space, right? And then individual object size can be a maximum of 5 TB. And a very important feature of simple storage service is four nines, which is 99.99 availability. Okay, 99.99% availability is guaranteed by simple storage service, and 11 nines of durability. Okay, so this is a very important feature of simple storage service. Now we have different storage classes. What are the different storage classes in S3? So the first one, we have S3 standard. So here it is like your Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, where you simply store your data and then you have instantaneous access to the data that is stored. Okay, the moment you want it, you will be able to gain access to the data. This is S3 standard. The second class, when you think about an organizational environment, okay, so here you will have data which is frequently accessed and also the data which are infrequently accessed. So We have S3IA, which is S3 infrequent access. Okay, so here this storage tier is suitable for infrequently accessed items, right? So when you store your data here, the retrieval time becomes 1 to 2 hours. So if you request for the object that you have stored in S3IA, then your retrieval time will be 1 to 2 hours. The next class of storage is S3 one zone IA. Here, this is within basically your data gets replicated across 6 facilities in 3 availability zones. And that is what is guaranteeing you availability and durability when you are using this service. Now, when we talk about one zone IA, all the 6 copies of data will be stored within the same availability zone. Okay, so this is one zone infrequent access. And then we have Glacier, which is a long term archival service. So you can basically have unlimited storage, okay, when you're using S3 Glacier. But then this is going to be again for infrequently accessed data. And the retrieval time for the data is around 3 to 5 hours if you use a standard retrieval. Okay, so this is about the different storage tiers on S3. So what are the different or what is the best use case for the simple storage service? Storing static web content and media. So S3 supports versioning. So you can use it for versioning of objects and then setting life cycle for objects as well, right? Just a minute, guys. I was just checking your chat box. Okay, Nakul, the EC2 instance is same as VDI. VDI, which is your virtual desktop infrastructure. And Citrix, again, it provides you with a connectivity to the resources in the cloud. So it's basically a virtualization platform. Okay, cloud computing is providing you with all the virtual resources. And this particular one that we are learning, which is EC2, it's a virtual server in the AWS cloud. Does EBS included in the free tier? Yes. Basically, if you see, there is, if I'm not mistaken, 30 GB of EBS is allocated per month for free. Okay. Abhinav, can we submit all documents together by 29th of this month? Not necessarily one by one, but then make sure you make all the submissions on time. Okay. So you can put all the assignments into a single file and you can submit it very well. You can do that, no problem. And okay. Okay, now, Nakul. A virtual operating system in the sense, basically, it's a virtual desktop infrastructure where you have your, your virtual compute space. Okay, so I think all the questions here are caught up. Okay, now AWS S3 storage classes and data lifecycle. Okay, Nakul says Windows Server 2019 is what you're using. Okay. It doesn't have anything to do with the operating system that you are using, right? So you basically, if you're using Windows Server 2019, then probably you can even enable your Hyper-V hypervisor, which is basically a feature that comes with your operating system, basically your Windows Server operating system, and you could simply be creating multiple virtual machines. Okay, again, that is going to be different types of hypervisor. Now I could say different type of virtualization. Okay, where we are using a hypervisor. Here it is cloud virtualization. Okay, Nakul? Yes. Now let's move to the topic now. So it is AWS S3 storage classes and data lifecycle. So I have already shown you, the different storage classes. We have S3 standard, S3 standard infrequent access. We have S3 Glacier, right? So basically, your S3 standard is comparatively more expensive than S3 standard infrequent access. And your S3 Glacier, it provides you with the cheapest storage. Now, in an organizational environment, you will be having data which is very critical and very frequently accessed. Such data can be in S3. There will be data which is infrequently accessed. And if you're going to be putting the infrequently accessed data into S3 standard, then it is going to be occupying redundant space and costing you excess of pricing. So, in such cases, you can move the infrequently accessed data into S3 standard infrequent access. And the seldom accessed data can be moved to S3 Glacier. Now, you want to automate this process of transitioning between the different storage classes. And that is where we have the lifecycle policy management. If you set up the lifecycle, you can set up after how many days you want the object to be transitioned from S3 standard to standard IA to Glacier, and so on. Eventually, you will be able to set an expiration date for your object as well. So, this is about life cycle configuration. Now, what is the pricing for S3? Storage. It's basically the amount of data that you are storing on S3. Then, the number of requests. It is the number of times requests made for bucket access. Then storage management, pricing. That's we were discussing about the life cycle policy management, right? So the same thing here. And then the data transfer, pricing. If you are transferring your data within the region, you will not get charged. If you go in for a cross region replication or you want to transfer the data from one region, a bucket in one region to another region, then again you get charged. If you are going to be charging or if you're going to be directly transferring it to the internet, then also you get charged. If you are transferring it to Cloudfront edge location, you will not get charged. So these are different ways or and means for pricing on S3. Transfer acceleration is a method that is used to transfer data at a faster speed, okay, and that too in a private network. So this is also a chargeable service. So these are all the different reasons why you get charged while you use S3. Working with S3 bucket, let me quickly show you how to create an S3 bucket and upload an object and view the object on S3. Now, S3, which is a simple storage service. So this is simple storage service. It has a global namespace. Earlier, when we were working with EC2, we had a region here. EC2 is a region specific resource, whereas S3 is a global resource. It has a global namespace. Now, we are going to be creating a bucket. Click on Create Bucket. Here we need to give the name for this bucket and it has to be unique. So let's say I'm giving it as September and then followed by the date 26/09/21. If you're going to be giving a older bucket name, then it is going to be continuously saying that the bucket name already exists. So make sure you give a unique name. Okay? And then, though it is a global resource, you will have to select the region in which you want to launch your resources in. So select the region in which you want to launch your resources. I'm just going ahead with US West 1. By default, all the objects and the bucket settings are private. I'm not making any changes here. I'll tell you when to make. Bucket versioning supported. Right now, we are not doing anything. I'm not enabling encryption as well at this point. Click on Create Bucket. Now our bucket is ready. What is the bucket that we created now? Yes, September 26, 9/21. Okay, this is the bucket that we have created now. Click on Upload. Click on Upload. Click on Add Files. And select the file that you want to upload. And then click on Upload. Right? Now the object has been uploaded. So this is the object that I have uploaded. every object will have a unique URL using which this object is getting accessed. Okay, so if I click on this object URL, it says access denied. The reason is that public access settings is enabled. It blocks all public access. Now we have to disable this. Let's do that. A bit of time. Okay, now click on permissions, and inside permissions, can you see this block all public access? Click on edit and untick this checkbox and click on save changes. Type confirm. Okay, now this is done. We need to change the object policy as well, right? So now select the object actions, scroll down to find make public. Okay, click on make public, and once you get this window, click on make public. So now we can check the URL of the object. Okay, now if I click this, I will be redirected to the data that I have uploaded, right? So this is S3 bucket. How you can manage objects on S3 buckets. Before moving forward, let's check if you have any question. What's the difference between object level storage? Basically, when you are, let's say, a very important question actually. Okay, was that okay? So yes, he has asked the question: what is the difference between the block level storage and the object level storage? So here, your block level storage and object level storage. Okay, so this is like your persistent block storage. Okay, so now we are talking about block storage. It's like your hard disk. Okay, this one is like your Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox. Now, if you have to view the data that you have in a block level storage, you need to connect it to an instance. Okay, so it has to be attached to an instance. So this is a remote storage and you don't need a instance here. And any kind of update can be done on the object itself. Okay, if I have an object inside my block level storage, I can simply edit the object there in the block level storage itself. In case of the object level storage, I will have to download the object, edit it in my local machine, then I will have to upload it for this particular change to reflect. So edit and upload newer versions. Okay, so these are the three important differences between your object level storage and block level storage. Can you modify the bucket's URL? Yes, you can do that. Now, the next one is networking on AWS. What is a VPC? A VPC is a logically isolated section of AWS cloud where you can launch AWS resources in a virtual network that you define. And you have complete control over your virtual networking environment, including selection of your own IP address range, creation of subnets, and configuration of route tables and network gateways. And you can use both IPv4 and IPv6 in your VPC for secure and easy access to resources and applications. The next one is subnets. A subnet is a logical container within a VPC that holds your EC2 instances. A subnet lets you isolate instances from each other, control how the traffic to and from your instances flows, and it lets you organize them based on the function. And every instance that you launch has to reside within a particular subnet. Once you launch your instance in a subnet, you will not be able to move it. This also means that you cannot move an instance from one VPC to another VPC. The next one is route table. Each route table consists of one or more routes and at least one subnet association. When you create a VPC, AWS automatically creates a default route table, which is called the main route table, and it associates it with every subnet in a VPC. And you can use either the main route table or you can create a custom one that you manually associate with one or more subnets. So that's about VPC, which is your virtual private cloud. The next topic is Route 53. Amazon Route 53 is a highly available and scalable domain name system service. That's basically a web service. And it provides you with three main functions: domain registration, which allows you to register domain names, and then your domain naming system, which is your DNS service, translating friendly domain names like www.example.com into IP addresses, right? Human readable domain names to IP addresses and vice versa. That is the basic function of TNS. Then we have health check. Health check, which is basically for monitoring the resources within your environment. Using Route 53, you will be able to monitor the health of the resources, such as web and email servers. When we talk about Route 53, we have different routing policies. We have the simple round robin policy, weighted round robin policy, latency based routing, health check and DNS failover, geolocation routing, and geoproximity routing. Now, simple round robin is where the requests are distributed to all the servers on a simple round robin fashion. Then we have the weighted round robin fashion, where if I have two infrastructures, I can assign weights anywhere between 0 and 255. If I set the weight of this environment to be 3, and then if I set the weight of this environment to be 1, then 75% of the traffic will flow to this environment, and 25% of the traffic will flow to this environment. Okay, so based on the weights that you are assigning to the infrastructures, you have the traffic being redirected to the particular infrastructure. So this is suitable for situations like A/B testing, where you have a testing being done in another environment and you want to redirect a little amount of request to the other new environment, and when you feel comfortable, you redirect all the traffic to the test environment. So this is A/B testing. And there is also one more thing, which is your blue-green deployment. It's the same. A/B testing and blue-green deployment are very much similar. And these two, they use the weighted round robin policy of Route 53. Then we have latency based routing. In latency based routing, the users will be routed to the infrastructure which gives them the minimal latency. Health check and DNS failover. When we talk about multi AZ deployment, right? If you have a region, and within this region, if you have AZ1, AZ2, you have your infrastructure within this region. Okay, so this is a multi AZ approach. And here you can use an elastic load balancer to balance the traffic across different AZs. Now, if you have different regions, let's say this is region 1 and this is region 2, okay, you have an infrastructure here and there is an infrastructure here. Now you want to route the traffic between these infrastructures. Here this can be done using Route 53, basically regional failover. Okay, so your Route 53 has health check, which continuously checks the DNS of the ELB. And for some reason, when this ELB goes down, it automatically redirects all the traffic to the ELB, which is healthy, right? So this is about health check and failover. Then we have geo location routing. Let's say you have a customer base in China and you want to deliver your content in Chinese within China. Then you will be able to use geolocation routing. Or in certain scenarios, there would be some governance policies, regional restrictions, and you will be able to abide and stick to the regional regulations using geolocation routing. Now, geo proximity routing. Geo proximity routing is basically like, uh, you know, let's say you have the user who is closest to a particular infrastructure. It is going to be basically measuring the physical distance between the user and the infrastructure. So, based on the closeness of the user to a particular server, it is going to be that particular server which is closest to the user will be responding to this user's request. So, these are basically the different types of routing policies. Cloudfront Content Delivery Network. Amazon Cloudfront is a content delivery network that is offered by AWS. CDN provides globally distributed network of proxy servers which cache content like web videos or other bulky media more locally to consumers, thus improving access speed for downloading the content. CloudFront service works on the pay-as-you-go basis. So that you will have to remember. One is edge locations are small cache memories where the frequently accessed data are cached for a temporary period of time. Regional edge cache are present across regions. So you might have a single regional edge cache and multiple edge locations, right? Your regional edge caches are comparatively larger in size than your edge locations. Next, how does the CloudFront work? CloudFront works with origin servers like S3, Ec2, where content is stored and is pushed to multiple CloudFront servers as content is requested. When CloudFront is enabled, the content is stored on the main S3 server. Copies of this content are created on a network of servers around the world, which is called the CloudFront Content Delivery Network. Each server within this network is called an edge server, which will only have a copy of your content. And when a request is made to the content, the user is provided from the nearest edge server, and CloudFront has features which are similar to dynamic site acceleration, which is a method that is used to improve the online content delivery. Now, what is the best use case for CloudFront? This service is beneficial for those developing a website that distributes a lot of content and needs to scale up. It helps reduce costs and improve the performance of a website by providing high data transfer speeds and low latency. Then, before moving into deploying application on Elastic Beanstalk, let's take the questions in the chat box, if any. I think I have taken up all the questions. Um, Working with Route 53 will be in our advanced training along with the postgraduate programs. So I think they have, our moderator has already shared the link for applying to our postgraduate programs in the chat box. So If you want to learn everything from scratch, zero level, and you want to become an expert web AI or Python developer or data scientist or machine learning engineer, then you can join our 6 months PGP full stack program. And this program includes 400 hours of live learning and train and assignments, 15 plus real-time projects, and also an MSME project. Additionally, you can get a placement training courses completely for free, which is going to be containing system design, data structure, and algorithm, advanced AWS, and interview preparation. Last but not the least, we offer placement opportunities where you can grab your dream job. All these things just for rupees to that 29,999, and you can avail a discount of 4,000 if you book your seat in the next 2 days. And you can check out our no cost EMI options in our website. Okay, so please make sure to have a look into our website and do apply for our postgraduate programs. And here we are in the last topic, which is deploying an application on Elastic Beanstalk. Naveen, any advanced program for cloud architect? Not at the moment, right? We would soon come back with the program. We would keep you informed on that. Yes. So, deploying an application on Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is a platform as a service model that is offered by Amazon Web Services. So, this provides you with a developer centric view of deploying application on AWS. You will be able to quickly deploy and manage applications, reduced management complexity without restricting choice or control, and the system that's your service takes care of capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto scaling, application health monitoring, and everything that is needed for your environment provisioning and environment management. So, let's say a use case where you have a good workforce of developers and your developers want to simply deploy the code on their platform and you want to build your application in the cloud. And then here you are going to be using Elastic Beanstalk, okay, which is providing you with a platform where you simply deploy a code to build application in the cloud, right? So here you can, these are the different elements of Elastic Beanstalk. Create your application, right? And basically, the elements are the application. We do have the application versions and the environments as well. Okay, let me take you to the dashboard and I'll tell you what each of them are. So here we are creating an application. Click on Create Application. Give a name for your application. Okay, let's say Let's Upgrade app 123. Here you will have to choose the platform that you want to choose for your deployment, right? So you can choose anything. I'm going ahead with Python. Okay, so I have chosen Python for my deployment platform, and sample application, or if you want to upload your code, then we have the source code origin. You can either put your code in your local machine and you will be able to upload the file from your local machine, or you can put the code file in S3 and you will be able to give the public S3 URL of the S3 bucket. Right now, I'm going to be using this sample application. Configure more options. So here if you see, these are the different configurations. And depending upon the configuration that you choose, the pricing will vary. Even the environment will vary. Whether you want to use a single instance using free tier eligible ones, or you want to use a single instance using spot instance, you want to create an environment which is having high availability, or you want to use high availability with spot and on demand instance, or even you can create your custom configuration. Depending upon the configuration piece presets that you are choosing, you will have a different infrastructure provisioning. So if you choose a single instance, then, for example, your load balancer will not exist. In other words, if you're going to be using high availability, then you will see that you have load balancer configuration that can be configured. Okay, so right now I'm going ahead with single instance, which is free tier eligible. Now, create application. This will be taking a couple of minutes to get ready. Meanwhile, let's see the assignments. Okay, once this ready, once this elastic beanstalk environment gets ready, we would work with that. Right now, let's complete the assignment discussion. So this is assignment 2. Creating an EC2 instance. Okay, with termination protection. Task 1. Okay, connect your instance and run a system update. What are the screenshots to be added? So screenshot instance details, screenshot every step, basically instance type, storage, tags, network, whatever you are choosing. Okay, so every step, take a screenshot and add it to your file. Enable termination protection, connect your instance, run a system update. So you need to take a screenshot for this, but then for this one, screenshot instance console has to be shown. Then disable termination protection. Okay, so this is the second assignment, creating an EC2 instance with termination protection. That was assignment 2. Third assignment is working with volumes. Create a volume. At each stage, take a screenshot. Okay, so this is assignment 3. And then we have working with elastic beanstalk. Deploy sample application on elastic beanstalk. I'll show you how to do this. We have not discussed it. I'm just giving you the assignment format. Okay. Deploy different versions of applications in separate environments. Okay, so these are the tasks that have to be completed for the assignment. Now let's quickly check if our environment is ready. Okay, So the environment health has transitioned from pending to okay. Okay, so here Elastic Beanstalk is a fully managed platform as a service model. Here it gives you visibility into all the resources and services that are provisioned for your application. So this is the Elastic Beanstalk environment that you have deployed. This is the domain name using which you will be able to access the application. Just click on this. So congratulations, your first AWS Elastic Beanstalk Python application is now running on your own dedicated environment with the AWS cloud. Okay, and this environment is launched using the Elastic Beanstalk Python platform. Now, this important component of Elastic Beanstalk is environment. Environments are going to be completely isolated sections within an application, and you will be able to have a different application or a different version of the application deployed in another environment. So, here within this, go to environment. Now, here we are within this application, which is Let's Upgrade app, 1 to 3 env. Now I'm going to be creating a new environment. Whether you want to create a web server environment or a worker environment. A web server environment when you want to run a website, web application, or web API that serves HTTP requests. Or you can create a worker environment where you can run a worker application that processes long running workloads on demand or performs tasks on a schedule. Right now, I'm going to be creating a web server environment. Click on Select. Give a name for the application, which is basically not needed. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, so now we are inside this application. We are creating another environment, right? So now, even if we don't give a domain name, automatically the domain name will get generated. Okay, so I'm not giving any domain name, so let's leave it for auto generation. Now, managed platform, I'm going to be using, if you remember, the previous platform that I used was Python. Right now, let's say I'm using Docker. Here also, I'm using a Docker sample application. So if you want to upload your code, then you can use this. You upload it from your local machine, or you can give the public S3 URL. Select sample application and create environment. Okay, so again, this is going to be taking a couple of minutes. So here, so this is the first environment that we have created, right? So here, if you want to edit this environment, okay, if you want to create a new environment with a new version, you're always open to do so. But then if you want to upload a newer version of the code and then you want to deploy it, the newer version of the code on the same environment, then you can use this option which says upload and deploy. Okay, and yes, so these are the events that have happened. Okay, it has added an instance to your environment. right? So let's check on this. So these are the events, okay? The detailed set of events that has happened. So here you have the timestamp as well. It shows you that the create environment is starting, and then it has provisioned Amazon S3 storage bucket for the environment data, and then it created a security group name for you. It basically created a security group. It has created an elastic IP for you. The environment health has transitioned from pending, okay, transition to pending, and then waiting for EC2 instance to launch, and then instance deployed successfully, and then application available at this particular domain name. Your domain name has been successfully assigned, right? So finally, it has added your instance to your environment. So these are the trail of events that have happened in provisioning your environment. So this is going to be available within the environment's event information. Okay, the log files, you can always request the logs. If you want to check the health of the environments, then you can do that. Monitoring, you know, monitoring your CPU utilization, maximum network in, maximum network out. So all these data are given here. Okay, so this is your fully fledged monitoring. You can raise alarms. We have not defined any alarms as of now, but you can define the alarms. Okay, so that's about the different aspects of Elastic Beanstalk. I think this environment is also ready now. This is taking a couple of minutes. Okay, so let's take a questions. In case if there are any questions, let me know, guys. Pratik Kumar, can I opt for a digital certificate instead of a hard copy? Yes. I'm repeating again. You guys will be eligible for two different types of certificates. One is certificate of participation, which will be given if you have filled up your attendance forms for yesterday as well as for today. Okay, so make sure you are filling up your attendance forms, and you will be eligible for certificate of participation. Certificate of completion will be available if you submit your assignments. So make sure you do the assignments and you submit it. And you have four assignments, which is working with identity and access management, working with EC2, working with volumes, and working with Elastic Beanstalk. I left one. Working with S3. Okay, so these are the things that you will have to do for working with S3. Create an S3 bucket, upload object into S3 bucket, make bucket and object public, access the object using public URL. Okay, and then, sorry, the object URL. Okay, so make sure you do this as well. So make sure you complete all your assignments and you submit it. you will definitely get a soft copy of the certificate. Optionally, we have planned to give you a hard copy of your certificate as well. Okay, so your certificate of completion will be available as a soft copy as well as a hard copy. I'm just checking the chat box for questions. Sage, basically, um, the session is over. So make sure you fill up your attendance form, and you can always, watch these sessions, which are recorded sessions and available on YouTube. So you can watch it, guys. What do you mean by Ustad? Can we use EBS with Amazon Connect? Why do you want to use? You mean the Instance Connect? I think maybe you can clarify your question. Without registration, you will not be eligible for the certificate. Is volume memory Sai? Is volume and EBS same? Yes. Elastic block storage volumes. Yes, working with EBS volumes. Thanks for bringing up this question. Okay, working with EBS volumes. Yes. Assignment 2, you want me to scroll up? Yes, this is assignment 2. You can always watch the recorded sessions, guys. Make sure you fill up your attendance forms. Make sure you fill up your attendance forms and make sure you submit all the 5 assignments. So you basically, for this cloud computing essentials chronic tunes, if you have submitted your assignment, if you're submitting your assignments for all these 5 assignments have to be completed and submitted before the due date. So if you do that, you will be eligible for the certification. Thank you, Vemuri Sai. Veeramani Nadrajan, is there a session tomorrow? I think you guys will be having a session for career guidance tomorrow. When is Chronic Tunes? When is the next AWS class? We will be, updating the dates for the Cloud Computing Essentials batch. Do keep checking our website so that you will get to know the information in real time. So, yes, we were waiting for the second environment to get ready. So, let's check. I think, why is this taking so much time? Okay. So, now the environment health has transitioned from pending to okay. So, now if I click on this application, so there is one single application which is Let's Upgrade app 123. And within this application, I have 2 different environments. So, which is the environment that I created now? That is the second environment that I created is env1. Okay, so if I click on this, okay, your Docker container is now running in Elastic Beanstalk on your own dedicated environment in the AWS cloud. Okay, and this environment is launched with Elastic Beanstalk Docker platform, right? So now we have 2 different environments within the same application, and one environment, this one is having a Python platform application, basically the application deployed on Python platform, and this one has the application deployed on Docker platform. So this shows you that these environments within the application are completely isolated sections. Okay? Yes. I'm displaying the assignments, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so at each stage, you will have to add the screenshots. Okay. Just a reminder, if you want to learn everything from scratch, zero level, and you want to become an expert, web AI, Python developer, or data science or ML engineer, then you can join our 6 months PGP full stack program. And this program includes 400 plus hours of live learning and assignments and 15 plus real time projects and also an MSME project. Additionally, you will be getting a placement training course completely for free, which contains system design, data structure and algorithm, advanced AWS, and interview preparation. Last but not the least, we offer placement opportunities where you can grab your dream job. All these things at just to the 29,999, and you can avail a discount of rupees 4,000 if you book your seat by the next 2 days. You can always check out the no cost EMI options in our website. Yes, I'm just checking if you last date of submission. Yes, guys, I as I said earlier, so this is a Saturday and Sunday session. So your last date for submission of assignments will be Wednesday. Make sure you submit your assignments by Wednesday, end of day. Next session. So basically, this is a 4 hours cloud computing essential session. Chronic Tunes, yes, I am an authorized AWS instructor and I'm certified in Solutions Architect Associate, SysOps Admin Associate, as well as Developer Associate. I am an authorized instructor. Yes, guys. Any more questions? Okay. Make sure, I think Purnima has already shared the assignment submission form. Okay. And even your attendance link will be there in the chat box. Okay. Join the community. Make sure you submit your assignments and make sure you fill up your attendance as well. Veeramani Natarajan, real-time example that we apply Route 53 to Ec2 instances. That's what we would be covering it in depth in the advanced session, not for cloud computing essentials. Yes, I hope your question is answered, Veeramani Natarajan. Okay, guys. So Purnima has shared the community link in the chat box. Yes, guys, I'm available on LinkedIn as well. My name is Vinolan Jeremiah J. Okay. So if there are no more questions, I think we can wind up the session, guys. Thank you so much for making the sessions interactive, guys. So, your participation has really meant a lot in taking the sessions forward in a very interactive way. Okay, so thank you all for the participation and thanks for making the session interactive. And do keep checking our website for more sessions that will be coming in future. Okay, wish you all the very best for your career and see you all in another session, guys. Thank you.